Okay. Well, let's introduce ourselves. I'm super excited for this super low-key masterclass webinar thing. But my name is Jill Cherry, owner of Cherry Picked Webco, and I have with me Liv from Brand Out Social. Liv, do you want to talk a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, super excited to be here. Thanks, Jill, for connecting with me again. But yeah, my name is Liv Hadjic. I am the owner and CEO of Brained Out Social, and we focus primarily on new patient acquisition with ads for social media and social media management for specifically chiropractors in the holistic healthcare industry. So super fun that we get to connect today, and I'm excited about our conversation.
I know, me too. I'm feeling a little spicy. It'll be fun. So I have recently seen a trend of chiropractors using AI to do deep dives into their socials. We have one joining us actually. So what's up, Dr. Garrett? They use AI, but maybe not like properly, to do deep dives into like say how to run an ad or how to complete SEO on their sites. And some stuff is helpful, but some stuff is like irrelevant. So
Yeah.
today I kind of wanna, I think the theme was from bored to booked out, but I kind of want to just pivot. And I really want to do the kind of the trend that I've seen on social media where it's like what we would say to you if we weren't afraid to hurt your feelings.
Yeah,
Are
that's
you cool to do that?
let's do it.
And not necessarily ripping chiropractors apart, but just being honest about the conversation because I'm sure in your world, just like in mine, things are shifting very fast. And it's also really hard to know what's right, what's wrong. And then obviously people are worried about, ranking and being found and all the things. So let's just hop right into it. Okay, so question number one. What are you seeing right now that is actually working and what's completely overrated?
I love this question because this actually reminds me of last year we had a lot of questions with our clients because there is actually another chiropractor that started some social media marketing like advice for people. And we kind of like talk about staying in your lane on certain things. Like, I'm not going to go and adjust. Don't go and like give people advice that isn't true to what's taking place today. And that's because social media is so ever evolving. But one thing that, and I think this is becoming very prominent, is people just doing quantity over quality with posts, especially with AI. So we've been having a lot of people going, hey, I can ask Claude to make, or ChatGPT, either one, to make me 100 posts in 5 minutes, and then it'll post to all of my socials. And it like gives me a heart attack because I'm like, please, please don't do that at all for one.
But why does that give you a heart attack and why is that not a good thing?
Not a good thing because one, Instagram is really pivoting because they are trying to limit the amount of AI that's coming onto the platforms. And that's something the head of Instagram has been like really posting about is that, and you see it too, like your feeds are just so clogged up with so much posting that you don't want to engage with, or you're just scrolling past. And that's what's like really clouding everybody and why their content views are going down and why so much is happening because so much AI is coming into the platform. And it can be good for certain things, but at the end of the day, people are going to social media to either one, be entertained, or two, to find value. And a lot of people are like, oh yeah, we post valuable content, but it's like, here's 5 reasons or 5 ways to stay hydrated. And it's things that, yeah, everybody knows about, right? So when you go to social, it has to be how am I making a connection with the people that are on the other side of the screen? Because that's what people are craving. We're in such a world that we're more connected now than ever, but at the same time, we have the biggest disconnect than we've ever seen before. And I really think that's because of the amount of content that's being mass produced without intention, without going, does this speak to my brand? Is this really a reflection of who I am too? So what we saw even on like people that or clients that ran ads with us, but not necessarily social media, they started that process of let's just dump as much content as possible, like 7 times a day. I'm talking about. And what was happening is they were getting overproduced, like mass produced content that was cheap, quick, like, and those are words then that people start associating with your brand when they see that, right? So I'm like, heart attack, because I'm like, we don't want that to be your branding. That's not your messaging. That's not who you are. That is not a direct reflection of the experience people are going to have coming in. And do you want people to look at your content and think those words cheap, fast, quick, not even like connection point when you're a doctor in healthcare? So that's like the what people are thinking when it comes to chiropractors now. And that's what they're thinking about your practice. Hey, this is cheap, this is quick, this is mass produced. Like there's nothing that's customized to me in my care plan, or even my practice and my health. They're just going to get me in and out, and they don't care about my health journey here too. So I think that's one of the biggest things that I've seen lately with AI coming into the scene. It's like it's easy, yes, it cuts corners and it makes your job easier, but long term, how is that impacting you and how is that impacting your brand?
Yeah, those are all really great points. I now before we get much farther into the conversation, I do love AI and I feel like AI is really helpful for a lot of things,
Yeah,
but the problem is that, I don't know about you, but I've spent probably, you know, I ballpark eight to $10,000 to learn how to use it appropriately, right?
yeah.
Or correctly. There is a training component to using AI the right way. And what you're seeing is a lot of people who don't have that background and knowing how to actually use it. So before we get into the conversation of like, oh, these girls are just hating on AI and
No, I love AI. I use it every single day.
but it's not that we hate it, it's that we hate that it's being used incorrectly. That's then resulting in negative results. And then at the end of the day, our businesses have work to do, right? So honestly, I feel like this conversation, like I told you, I just want it more to be podcast style because it's really having a conversation about something that is happening right now. And it will continue to happen and shift into the future. And if we don't kind of get a hold on it and like kind of pull back the reins a little bit, then I think we're going to begin to see negative results versus positive ones. um, but okay, so like I said, we love AI. We are not hating on AI, but we do need to use it the right way.
Yeah.
And we do need, human expertise behind it, not just solely relying on the content that you get from whatever platform of choice that you use. Okay, next question. What's a mistake you see chiropractors or business owners in general making over and over again online? Name your
Hmm.
top three. Rapid fire.
First, not consistently posting or engaging with their audience. So like posting and ghosting is what we call it. Um, I'll go into it after if I'm going rapid fire. Not showing their face as their brand, and then giving content or ads in their marketing plan 3 weeks to get traction before pulling the plug is probably the
Ooh.
top ones that I see in my world. I'd be curious of your world.
In our world, we always say 90 days to data. So we
Mhm,
need time to figure out what's working and what's not.
mhm.
One thing I will die on the hill. Have you ever heard of the term, a hill you want to die on? Like in relationships, like just pick the hills you want to die on. A hill I'm willing to die on is chiropractors come to say either you or myself as like we need you to be like our savior and they
Mhm.
need results now. And online marketing is not that. Online marketing is a long-term strategy to build a very solid platform, a very solid place of what you're building on.
Yeah.
Somebody who's done this really well in my world is Stephanie Wigner.
Mhm.
She has built an online brand, but literally, if you go back to when she first started versus where she's at now, it took her years.
Yeah.
But she's a very solid example of doing it the right way and not expecting to, like, in your world, post and ghost and just hope to make sales.
And
Or,
consistency with it
yeah,
too. Just
yeah,
like working
yes,
there slowly. It's not overnight. I'm not going to be viral.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I think too that I actually don't hate to say this, it's just the truth. Chiropractors want to use online means to like justify laziness. Like I remember in our practice when we were trying to get our practice off the ground, we were like bootstraps up to the waist going to, talk it, health talks, doing
Mhm.
screenings. And I know like some coaches out there preach like, oh, I can teach how to do this without doing those things. But I think there's always trends and it always goes like ebbs and flows, right? And I think the trend is people are really turned off by online marketing at the moment because of, like we mentioned, AI. It's just, it's, you don't know what to believe, what's real. So the quickest way to make relationships within your community is show up. Just show up. Just go to a networking group once a month or something. Don't rely solely on your online marketing to like fix a leads problem or to fix a new patient problem or whatever. You know what I mean? Now, I, our last question that we'll get to is things we would say if we're not afraid to hurt your feelings. And I actually have a list, but to touch on,
Jill's been waiting for
I've
this.
been waiting for this moment because there just seems to be a trend where it's like, I love chiropractic and I love chiropractors so much, but it does get frustrating telling, saying the same thing over and over and over again in my emails because I'm getting the same question. And that's why I want to have the conversation with you today. Um, but yeah, okay. So going back to your rapid fire, 90 days to data, online marketing is not quick. It is
Yeah.
it is something that it needs to be built foundationally over the course of a long time.
And done right from your branding. And I have that for one of your other questions with it. But one of my favorite things to tell chiropractors is because it puts it in words that they understand is you don't tell a patient you're going to get better in a first visit. So why are you expecting your marketing, people to know who you are to happen overnight, right? So it's like when we put it in their language too, they're like, yeah, I would tell my patients, hey, it's going to take X amount of visits to even get you there, or you've had this lifetime of bad things and health and ignoring your health. And now you're just overnight expecting it to be fixed. So it's like, okay, you've been ignoring your marketing, you've been ignoring your branding, you've been ignoring your brand presence. You know you need to do it. And now you finally are ready. It's going to take some time for that strategy to build in to see what's working and how your community responds. Just like, hey, we're watching how your body responds to what we're doing and removing the interference, right? It helps when you're married to a chiropractor, so you know, and my family's all chiropractors, so it helps when we can put it in their words because then they're like, yeah, that's exactly what I tell my patients, and it's just
And
like,
then she's probably like, dang, she got me. Because
yeah,
it's right.
you're
It's
like, that's
true.
what it is. I mean, they see it over time. So that's like, we don't do long-term agreements. We just don't. But my goal is that within the first month, trust is already built, that you're like, okay, I trust that this is moving according to plan, even if it's not the top of the hill that we want to see at this moment, where I'm not seeing the biggest peak yet, but I'm getting there and I'm inching there, and the experience is so like good where someone really understands what I need and is directing me. But I agree with you. You can't just put all of your eggs in one basket for marketing because some things don't work in certain areas and you have to have different strategies, or what was working overnight could stop working because the landscape's constantly changing. So that's a great point of just like, yeah, people did screenings, they did events, now they're only doing marketing. And I think marketing has gotten really good and strong to be able to help supplement a lot of that, but it doesn't replace actually showing up. And that goes exactly into that point I had of like showing if you're your brand, you need to be in your content too. And we tell that to even our doctors when they're filming videos for ads. Like a lot of people will be like, I'm delegating and putting a CA in charge. And from a business owner perspective, I get that. Like you have a million things on your plate. But when you go into the consumer shoes, they're not coming to see your CA or your office manager. They're coming for the treatment with the doctor. So they want to see, what is the doctor recommending? What are they? And that's just building that brain and that expertise for them to trust you with the care that you're going to sell them into, because it's sales at the end of the day for you too as a doctor. It's not just, you don't do your services for free.
Correct. Love it. I love everything you're saying.
But
So just to reiterate, Liv is with us from Brand Out Social. She is a social media marketing agency with ads, does the whole thing. We will let her plug her brand after all of this conversation. But this brings me into my next question of like, okay, so, and then obviously I'm Jill Cherry, Cherry Picked Webco, a website provider. Um, how should someone think about their website and their social media working together? Because some people can be confused, like, don't you guys do the same thing? Absolutely no. I will never do what Liv does. It just
and
gives
I
me
won't do it. Jill
thinking
does.
about like it's two different avenues. And
Yeah.
that's another thing I think in our world, chiropractors get confused if you just blanket term online marketing. And
Mhm.
like, for example, online marketing encompasses so many different avenues. For
Oh my God.
example, you have social media, you have your website, you have email automations, you have SEO strategies, you have SEO research, you have like all of these things. So I think in our world, it's just become a blanket term. It's like, oh, you're
Yeah.
a social media company, you or online marketing company, you can do this for me. And it's like, no, not necessarily. And so that's why I love you guys and I love a few others because staying in your lane, you guys just are experts in the one thing, kind of like I stay in mine because I'm expert in the one thing. So, how do we get social media and the website to work together?
I think this is a great question because we get this all the time. People email us, "Hey, can you take over our website?" And I'm like, as much as I would love to, no, but here's somebody who can do this really well. And that's what I don't want to do something that just to do it for a chiropractor. Like, yeah, we could make a website. We could put it in Claude too and ask it to code everything for you. Is that going to be a great result for you? Yeah, Jill's over here dying now. She's like, don't ever say that again. But our team talks a lot about the ecosystem of it. So, like socials and ads and website, they're all separate, but they're an ecosystem that has to flow correctly together if you want all systems to be a source of revenue, or just to create value in your branding and brand exposure too. So that which does play into your long-term revenue of it, but social's job is to earn trust and create curiosity. That's where it's free to show up. There's time is your investment on that typically, unless you're having somebody manage it for you, of course. But it's not necessarily making sales happen right then. We're warming your audience, we're exposing you to who they are. And then for us and how we verbalize it to our doctors, that website is where we retarget and drive them for them to take action. So they're learning more, they're warmer, they're more of a peat. They're coming to your website because they're deciding, is this someone that I want to continue learning about? Is this someone I'm going to trust? And it ultimately, am I going to book an appointment here? And that's kind of the differences that we see. But I'd be curious your thoughts of how you guys expose that. What how we phrase it to our clients is the website is where we're sending people to, so that you can convert. Their job is to provide that information. And yes, you're branding and pique curiosity, but at that point, by the time they're at your website, they've already encountered your brand somehow along the way, typically.
I think as you were speaking, I kind of got the idea of like dating versus marriage. So
Yeah.
I feel like social media is more or less like someone's dating you. They're just getting bits and pieces and snapshots of who you are, what your services do, maybe some testimonials of like positive experiences. And then, if they do happen to land on your website, I mean, that's where they're willing to engage with you or like the engagement to a marriage, right? Like engage with you on a further level of like, okay, I'm maybe more serious about going to this person.
Mhm.
Now we need to give them the information of like, okay, here's our services, pricing, where to book, you know what I mean? So I think they do need to work together. I think also consistent branding is huge because if you have one place looking one way and your website looking something totally different, it's kind of almost a disconnect.
It is.
Um, a good book I like is called Neurodevelopmental Design or Neurodesign, and it talks about how the brain scans things in an online space. So, like, it actually never really fully reads the words, it's a scan. And so, if they're scanning your socials and then they hop over to the website and they scan the website, and it almost takes them a minute to figure like, is this the same place? Like, hold up. So, I think having a consistent brand across all of the places online is like number one priority for you to look. Okay,
I'm
so
like,
like
preach this, please. Keep preaching.
all also also chiropractic care, unless you're the joint, no offense to the joint, I think the joint has a place in this world for like, those who want chiropractic care but maybe necessarily can't afford like a private practice, whatever. Like which even the joint has consistent branding. So
Yeah.
like, what am I even saying? So, but I'm just saying like consistent branding also gives you that like what is the word I want to use? I don't know. Like I just feel like people trust you more if
Yeah,
you're have your
it
stuff
gives
together
you that
online.
like voice of authority. And that's the other thing. If we send you from your socials and people are like engaged and loving it, and then they hit their website and they're like, this is ancient and has never been updated, or I don't know. There's just some that also give me panic attacks when we take somebody on and I'm like, your whole website is just a scheduling link. Why is that a thing?
Because
But
they probably were told to do that by AI.
yes, yes, true.
I'm
But
just
it's so right, they'll X out, they'll and go and engage with somebody else too. If they don't immediately find what they need, and that's just the world we live in, there's that immediate gratification. If they do, same thing, like if they don't go to your website and immediately have that trust built and established, then they're gonna X out and go to somebody else. Or like you said, if it's just too much, and they don't understand your messaging, or you have like five different contact forms on your website and just have so much confusion, then that experience is just already tanking because now they're frustrated and that's their first experience they've had with you as a doctor too. So having your socials matched to your website and your ads, like everything just has to be cohesive. And I think that's why it's so important to have web developers that engage back with social that way too and are like, yep, we understand it's not a cookie cutter approach where every website looks the same. We're really customizing the look and feel of this to this practice. And that's something like we really value out of our relationship with you, Jill. My we send people your way now, is because of that customized experience, because we know it sets them apart and their websites don't look like every other chiropractor in the area.
yes. Thank you. I appreciate it. And I appreciate you guys. Um, okay, love it. If you had to start from scratch today with no audience,
Okay.
another rapid fire question. What would you focus on first?
Um, I would focus on documenting. And that's kind of the difference of what we talk
I
about.
was not expecting that.
Okay.
Okay.
Documenting as in like documenting what you're doing. So if I were like a chiropractor and I'm starting my socials, one, I would 100% make sure my branding is like ready to go first and foremost, because everything flows from that. If you don't know who you are, if you don't know who your voice is, what you believe, your brand identity, how you speak, how you're any of that, then how are you going to expect anybody else to like understand that is something that so when we take on a client, if they don't have a brand guide, that's the first thing we're making for them and making sure our full team is on board for that. So we know how we're going to show up on socials for them. But immediately, like if I'm just the doctor in practice, I'm going to document everything because that's what piques people's curiosity in healthcare. They're over like the graphics that have too much information or like it's just it's good information to have on your page sometimes, but I would not rely on that for your growth and in full engagement. What people respond to is saying, oh, almost like the follow along with me or like insight, anything that's like a shock factor that they're not exposed to before. So like if I were a hospital, like I'm not posting, here's your insurance claims. I'm showing here's our surgery that's going on and like that learning and like shock of like what happens behind the scenes that people can't normally see. So literally as simple as just set up your tripod, record, tell the patient, hey, I'm just recording, is that okay? And like that's the extent of it. But we have a gym here actually in Colorado Springs and they're around the country, Burn Boot Camp. They do
Yeah.
an amazing job of just like recording everybody. Like you sign it into your waiver when you get in with them. So it's like put in your new patient paperwork. Hey, we record like this stuff. You know, healthcare is a little bit sicker, but make sure it's in there. Just draw attention to it. If somebody denies it, then don't record them. Easy as that. And so, but people like to see themselves. They like to see themselves getting treatment. Like people are a little like we're self-consumed. Like that's just by nature. Some people are like, I don't like to see myself on camera, but they actually do when they don't have to talk and do anything. But if they're getting treatment and like the doctor's like talking to them and engaging, there's conversation pits that are gonna pick up if you're a good table talk doctor. I'm not saying like go and do something that feels so unnatural to you, but just like provide your care and the experience and truly show people what that's going to be like because people love that. I mean, there are so many people that go live on TikTok just doing their makeup and talking and it's like it's insane how like that traction builds and the engagement and the awareness. So just showing people like who you are, the experience they're going to have, it doesn't have to be some big production or scripted. It like that rawness is what people are craving, and that's what they engage with, and that is what gets your views. That's what gets just everything to go up. But that's, I would say, where doctors struggle the most is being like recording it for the
Filming
first time.
themselves.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I've had this with doctors like where we've started, and they're like, I cannot do that. I cannot. And they finally do it. And then eventually over time, we've created a monster of like it's bad, where their wives are like, please stop telling him to film every detail of their lives, you know? Because
Oh,
and I'm
that's
like,
so
this is
funny.
great, this is a dream, but I also get it. Like, we're like, oh, you've come so far and we're so proud of you. But yeah, document, instead of just creating content, like document what you're doing, everything. People are just like we're weird. Like we want to see those things that are going on in people's lives. And that falls true even if you're a practice owner in like healthcare. People want to see that. But I think that's the biggest hump that people have to get over. It's just, I don't want to film myself.
And I think it's a fear of being seen. And I'm saying that out of like same, you know?
Yeah.
Because, and also, I mean, I've on my socials have just filmed myself on my walking pad while I'm like working and answering emails. I don't talk, I don't do anything. I silence it, I put music over it and then put a caption on it.
Yeah.
And like that got more engagement than a static post anyway. So that's great advice. For me, if I was starting over with zero audience, I would do two things. Number one, in the online realm, giveaways were really great for me to grow my audience. And I would also find physical places I could go to make connections in my community to then drive them back online. So having some type of QR code where they could follow me on socials easy, where they can enter in my giveaway. And I would just collect as many names and emails as possible because what you do is you're creating your own pond to fish from. And I've
Yeah.
always loved that from my, day one training and learning this stuff is like the whole goal is it doesn't matter if you have community right now because you're the one building it. You're the building, like you're running to be the mayor of your town to build a community. And what does that look like? And just think logically next best step. So if like something's not working, that doesn't mean you're not supposed to do it. It just means you're going to pivot and do something different. So for me, I would focus on finding events that work and also then driving them to like you or follow you online and then having some type of giveaway. And going back to branding an ideal client, that's why again, branding an ideal client are so important because it literally that's where everything stems from. So like if your ideal client is a mom with older children, her husband, makes enough money where she doesn't have to work, they value health, like what would someone like that want to win? you know? So I did a bog bag giveaway with the Stanley Cup once. I mean, I think I got like 2,000 entries for that. For me, that works because I'm an online company. I can really truly serve anyone anywhere. For a chiropractor, that would still work. And you just make sure that, you have to be local because you have to come pick it up. Um, but those are two strategies that I would use if I had to start over.
I think
Um,
too, with that, I liked how you were just talking about like engaging with your audience too. And one thing that like we tell people, like if you're at a screening event and you're talk go follow them on Instagram, like, hey, what's your Instagram? I'd love to, they're gonna follow you back. They're gonna engage back with that too. And I think that's like people almost think, I don't want to say beneath them to do something like that, but almost like, oh, that's kind of weird of a doctor's office to follow someone. Well, that's a potential patient, and if you can follow them, people almost always follow you back if you are and you engage with them, especially if you've met them face to face at it. So even on like screening forms, I've had some doctors like have them add their social media handle. Can we follow you? And most people are like, yeah, I want to grow my following because we're self consumed, like just truly by nature. And so that's just another way of like slowly doing it. You have all of those. So as you're building your email list and getting those contacts, yeah, they might not book an appointment right then, but you're creating that long term nurture. And even if they don't, they might say, oh, my friend got in a accident, they hurt their back. Oh, go to so and so. They were awesome. I met them in person and I can vouch for them now. And how many doctors tell you referrals are their best patients, right? So just kind of hand in hand with that.
so that's so good. And then, okay, last two questions. What would you do differently if your goal was to grow faster within the next 6 to 12 months? So, like,
Okay.
say the remainder of this year, if a person's goal was to grow quickly, what would you tell them to do?
If I was, I guess it twofold. If I was trying to grow either new patients in like a practice as a doctor or even just social media and showing up on socials, I would, I now have three answers because I'm like, oh, that's a good one too. On socials, I guess I'll just to jump around. On socials, I would make micro ads out of the content for engagement and awareness. And that's not hand boosting a post. It is like literally taking some content that people are already engaging with. And we've been talking to this a lot about this with our doctors because when you post a reel, right, it goes to everybody, right? It doesn't necessarily go to just certain people in your community, but if you have something that's super valuable that speaks truly to the audience of those who you serve, you can set a very small budget. Like you can spend $10 over 5 days and show that to people who meet your audience. We can set up custom audiences in the back end of Facebook saying, I want females between this age that are parents and they live within 3 miles of my practice. Like create those custom audiences designed to see that post and then put a little bit of spin so that way you're telling the algorithm only like yes you're going to show it to everybody but I'm also only going to show it to here and I want the result to be that they engage and they can still drive action from that but that's such a great way of like if you are not able to spend a lot on advertising and new patient acquisition and build out full funnels and everything like that or maybe your practice isn't even at the level where you want to see that many new patients. Some people are like, I just want a couple, like 6 a month. I'm happy. That's my sweet spot. I don't want to be overly busy. Do those things. That's going to grow your engagement on your pages. That's going to grow your following, but that's also going to make it so that the actual people you want to see your content are seeing it, especially like we said, there's so much AI. Like the algorithm's even trying to figure out what to do. And now there's, I think yesterday, the head of Instagram put out that you can adjust your algorithm and make decisions for it. So we're looking into that now, but it's just always changing. So that's a great way to get past that and grow your audience, grow yourself and your brand and just that trust factor really quickly. That's going to get you results pretty immediately. So that's one thing I would do. If I were running ads, I would run a sales funnel with an offer. And this is what I mean, that sounds like so obvious to do, but I would probably do it on Google first if I had to choose between Google and Facebook just because of the quality of
For
the.
those listening, what would you kind of deep dive into that one? What would the offer be?
Mhm.
Um, and what are the things that need to be, well, I guess that would be really my forte, but like kind of give them the top five things.
Yeah,
If say they were listening right now and they're like, okay, well, I could do that, and say they want to try to do it for themselves, what are the top
yeah.
five things that they would need to know in order to go that route to have an offer and sales page?
You would just need to on your website, you can even put it to a
Sorry,
contact form.
I'm here. I'm here. Sorry, mother.
I was like, my face got so much bigger. You could have a super simple landing page. Even if you're managing your website yourself, all you would have to do is change your contact form to have a new patient special on it. That way, anybody coming to your website takes action already. And that's something like some people are like, oh, I only want it on my ads. And we're like, well, if you also put it as a banner on your website, they may be deciding between you and another offer or at another office just solely based on price. Maybe you guys are similar enough. And so now they're going, I'm going to go there because it's going to cost me 49 for the same thing and it's the same level of care. And I think that's where chiropractors get really hung up sometimes is, and I understand it because you have something that's a valuable service, so you want to price it higher. But with everybody in your area is doing a similar offer, you're going to end up spending more on ad spend and not getting those patients anyway that just eat the cost of the $50 for that new patient appointment. So I'm always like, I promise, like, you can still get quality patients based on how you set up your ads and the messaging. You don't have to get people that are the joint. And I'm not saying advertise for $15 and adjust and give everybody the sun and moon for it. But I am saying, like, you have to compete if you're going to market. And if you're wanting to market, grow your practice fast, like, those are things you have to value and weigh the pros and cons of. Because if you could pay $50 for somebody, but they sign on for a $4,000 care plan, how much? Are you going to sit that like, and we say that to people too. Hey, if I could put 50 bucks into a machine and it spits out $4,000, I'm going to stand there all day doing that, right? So it's anyway, but when setting up your ads, you really don't have to have a major campaign budget if you're very intentional about who you're targeting and if you're willing to wait it out and see how people build too. So I would just do a very hyper focused campaign. Google does guide people pretty good through things like that now, but not trying to test a bunch of things. Just here's a very simple structure to the campaign of chiropractor near me, chiropractor in, right? And like those are what we call like high intent keywords that somebody's ready, they're taking action. So maybe you have 200 chiropractors in your area, and even if you only have a $10 budget a day, if you're only searching for high intent keywords and the two people that click on that are so high intent because you're not generalizing your search, yes, your ads might turn off and somebody else's ads are gonna run in their place. But for those two people, you have people that are hot leads at the end of a funnel, and as long as they get what they want when they get to your landing page, they're gonna go in. You don't have to have a big built out automated system. I mean, it helps amplify and grow it faster long term, but if it's you're a small practice, you don't have a lot to invest in it, you can easily do that and people just contact you guys directly. Just make sure your team's on top of it, responding to them. Don't let them fill out a form and then never hear from you again because they're going to immediately move on to the next office that's going to get them in. Um, and then the third I would say is get as many Google reviews as quickly as possible. And I'm sure you're that's just the same for your landscape. It just
Mhm.
establishes so much online trust. It's going to help you show up
And
higher.
respond to the reviews.
Yes, and
When you get a
respond.
review, respond to them.
Yep, respond to them and even like I don't know if you've seen much with this, but even keywording things back into your response if they're not in there, since Google, even the ads are being scanned for those things. So Google is ranking your ads too on your local authority with that organic SEO, how many Google reviews you have, and what's within your Google reviews too. So if you can tell people to say, hey, this is the best chiropractor in Colorado Springs, that's great because it's signaling a location and a keyword that people are going to be actively searching into you. So they're going to match that there too. So those are things that Google's going to help establish your ad ranking because of it. And those are what we look into as well because like in the general healthcare world with chiropractic, most marketing agencies, if they can take up 20 to 30% of top ad ranking, that's good. Our ads average 70 to 80, and it's because of things like that where we're hyper focused on high intent keywords, not necessarily overly broad. We just know what people are searching for chiropractors and we're marketing towards it. But I would say those are going to help you grow all three realms. I can't speak to website because that's just not my bread and butter, but at least how your ads are going to perform and then socials to help get you where you want to go faster. Especially if you have a lower marketing budget to initially invest in. And then as you get those back, take that, like reinvest that back in. I would say that's the biggest is remembering like when you're early on, you have to reinvest what you're making back into it if you want to see yourself grow faster long term. You can say the same, yes, if you're happy with that. But if you want to see quick growth in those months, reinvest what you make back into it from marketing because it's just going to compound that way.
I love that. Well, to land this very fun conversation we've been having, I would love if you, and maybe I'll go first. I want to say things that I would say if I wasn't afraid to hurt those listening's feelings, because it's just
Out
some
of
truth.
love.
If I go first, I
Yeah.
have them written down.
She's been compiling this list for a while.
I only have five. I only have five.
Okay.
No, but there's been a trend online. Have you seen it where it's like things I would say if I'm not afraid to hurt your feelings? So I'm like, this is actually so funny because like why not add a little spice to life? But these are all website specific. And
Okay.
then Liv, I want you to do social media specific. This might ruffle some feathers, but that's okay, it's a point. But these are some things I would say to my audience if I was not afraid to hurt their feelings. Number one, a new website will not fix bad business ownership or management. I
Mm.
have been blamed um, for it's fine, we won't get into it, but as good as I am at what I do, a website is not a fix-all, be-all magic bullet. Neither is social media. Anything really isn't. Um, Owning a business is hard work. It takes a lot of grit, takes a lot of tears sometimes, some
A
sweat,
lot.
a lot. And if anyone is looking for a service to just fix all of their problems, I'm speaking from personal experience here, so I'll kind of turn and point my fingers back at myself. A lot of business problems are personal problems, and a lot of it is like we need to turn internal and look at like, okay, I am the leader of this ship, and the ship has gone wrong. What could I do better?
Hmm.
So if people come to me and they're wanting me to fix their entire business, I
Yeah.
can't do that. I can give them a beautiful website and I can work with them on strategy and I can work with them on SEO when, SEO needs to be worked on. But at the end of the day, I cannot like bring your business from like failing to positive. Maybe I can if I pray with you and over the business, like maybe I don't know. That would be my number one. Number two, you should not rely solely on a website to fix your new patient problem. You should never rely on any one source for new patients ever. You just like you diversify your income portfolio if you want to become super wealthy, diversify where you're getting new patients from. Like a really good example of this is when Jason and I had a practice, we did solely health talks. That's all we did because we it was just successful for us. And then COVID happened and we couldn't do them anymore. So then we had to basically have the oh crap moment of like, okay, where are we
Yeah.
getting patients from
What are we
now?
gonna do now?
And then we were one of those people that were like, okay, we got to figure out online marketing like now. And it just learning these things over the past several years, it just doesn't work that way if you want it to be effective for long term in a strategy. So online marketing, whether it's on socials or a website, really should not be your one sole source of new patients. AI, my third, AI really loves to make you happy. So it will literally lie to you and it will give you answers that aren't necessarily true. Therefore, do not rely on AI more than human intelligence in those people around your life, right? Liv, how long have you done this?
6 years. Well, in chiropractic specifically 6 years, but 10 since
So
starting.
I believe I would trust you and your guidance and your judgment over literally a language learning model, which is like a machine essentially,
That
who,
scans the internet for everything first.
who's literally just going to tell me stuff that like may or may not be true. Like I've literally tried to ask it sometimes to help me with like, say, a Gmail problem, and it'll tell me to go click a button and it sounds like it would be legit, and then I go to the thing and the button doesn't even exist.
I think that's like exactly like those posts that you're like you see where it's like your chiropractor when you go to Google for your diagnosis, but it's the exact same thing. And they're like, don't Google it. Why are you Googling it? It's gonna tell you have stage 4 cancer and or they're dying. You know, like it's the same thing, like same concept.
So I'm just saying we love AI and AI has a place, but it should never replace human intelligence. Number four, if you're obsessed with ranking number one in the Google Map pack, I'm not your girl. Okay? Well, let me clarify, without spending money. I'm not your girl. I can work a lot of magic tricks. That is not one. Yes, people have come to me and asked that. And then number five, a new website will not save a bad business. As good as I am at what I do, I'm not a magic bullet. Those are the five things I had written down because there just seems to be like a theme lately.
Oh yeah.
And I don't know if people come to you and they're like, hey, I really need this to work, or like, I'm done, and
Yeah.
that is a very negative place to be. Believe it or not, Jason and I have been there. It's not fun. Um, but we like if I could preach anything right now, it's just we need to get out of thinking like business is easy because it's not. And
Yeah.
so if things are not working in an online sense, then maybe we shift to doing more in-person marketing events or speaking engagements or going to your local networking chapter from like your chamber just for a season, right? like be doing both things. So then you do the hard work now, and then you get people to follow you online on socials, ads, all the things, and then bridge that gap and then start offering things online. And it kind of needs to work like synergistically together, right? So those would be the things I would say to people if I were not afraid to hurt their feelings, which is really hard for me to say because I do not like ruffling feathers. But I think
Yeah.
some things right now in this climate, when it comes to like online AI, ranking in AI, ranking SEO, it's all shifting and changing, and everyone needs to understand that like if this is lighting your business on fire in a negative way, like that is a business ownership management problem. That's not the provider you're working with's problem. Um, okay, I'm done. Your turn.
Those are great, and I agree with you on you do get a lot of fallback when you're in charge of marketing in any realm, and there's certain things that are in your control and certain things that aren't. So my last one, we'll touch on that and probably what we get the most of. But number one, I would say in terms of social media, that boosting a post is not a marketing strategy. Um, so don't do that. That's just gonna waste your money and Facebook wants you to pay them. So that's number one. Number two, just because something worked for your buddy doesn't mean it's gonna work for you. So I think
Guilty.
that one's the hardest one because you aren't them. You're not in that. Their audience is probably not even the same. The location's not the same. It's you're not them, so don't try to be them. You have to market individually for who you are and what sets you apart and why they should work with you. But I would say we get that one a lot of this person is running this ad and spending this amount. We should be seeing the same exact results, and that's just the landscape's not the same across the board in every area. So that's I wish it worked that way. It'd be so much easier to make my job so much easier.
Right.
Number three, this one my brother-in-law will probably kill me for, but Alex Hormozy is not your savior. I love Alex Hormozy. I think he puts out great content. Um, I think you could follow every single thing he does, and your posts still won't go viral. Um, so yeah, I think that one's just hard. And I hate saying it because I love him. I think he has great information. He obviously does a great job, but people are bought into him and his brand. And remember, you have to remember he is a brand at the end of the day too. You are not Alex Hermosi. I know you want to be, you are not. So how can you build value around who you are to become that level without, yeah, just copying
Just
someone
being
else?
yourself.
Yeah.
Like, but like that's the beautiful thing about what it is in this world that we live in is like God literally created us all different for a very specific reason. So Alex Hormozy was meant to be Alex Hormozy,
Yeah.
just like Dr. Eric's on this call, and Dr. Eric was meant to be Dr. Eric, and Dr. Eric has a special talent that Alex Hormozy does not. So that's why we have to figure out what we're really good at and like hone in on that. And then we will become our own kind of like, we always say mayor of your community. It's like you become that just by simply showing up as yourself.
Yeah, it is. And I wish like somebody could tell you do A, B, and C and it's gonna 100% work out, but
Don't we all? Don't we freaking all?
it's not. He has great information. He's an amazing leader and business owner. So not knocking him on any of that, but just reminding you that you're not him and he is not your savior. So be who you are. I hate being like, be original to yourself, but truly you have to market yourself. That's who people are going to see at the end of the day in the practice is
Mhm.
you. And if you're posing as somebody else, then you're already providing a different experience than what they're actually going to get. Um, Fourth, you're not too busy to make content. You're just uncomfortable on the camera.
Ooh.
And that one we get a lot of. And it's true for myself, even like my team will be like, I need you in this. And I'm like, I find every excuse not to. And I work in social media and I know how valuable it is and the impact. And I still choose not to do it. So that's again, like you said, pointing fingers back at yourself. Um, and then the fifth one, I will say, and this one I'm like kind of nervous to say, but if someone shows up for an appointment from an ad and you can't close them, it's because you couldn't provide enough value. And that one we get a lot of like, oh, they were a bad lead when they came in. But at the end of the day, like, yeah, it's our job to get you leads and bookings through. It's your job to provide the conversation, the trust, the care plan recommendations and present that. At the end of the day, it's a sales call for you. That's the pitch. Just like when somebody comes in and they might not be a good fit for you on your end, that's that might happen, but are you providing enough value that their only decision is to say yes, right? And that's the same with us. Like when I have a sales call with somebody too, there are times that I probably don't provide enough value, and those are exactly why they don't move forward because it's not what they did not think it was valuable enough to make that investment and move forward on their end. Now, your differences of values might be not aligned across the board. You might have different opinions on that, but at the end of the day, that's why they're not moving forward is because that value is not there. People will always move forward if you provide a solution and value to them at the end of the day.
I've also learned personally, I love that fifth one actually because it's so true. I think both you and I maybe get like a lot of like, it always falls back on us, even though maybe it's not our fault, which is fine, it's part of the job. But I also feel like we could also shift our mindset around when we get a no. Like
Mm-hmm.
instead of like, oh my God, it was a bad thing from an ad, blah, blah, blah. Now I'm gonna go quit everything and burn everything down. Maybe God was saving you from that person because they're a psychopath. Or maybe it was a no because your sales strategy sucked. And then you can take that no and like, how do we learn from it? How do we grow? How do we get better? How do we get better at sales? Um, so I think also a lot of mindset has been around like let's see who we can blame versus like let's just shift the mindset on like okay, it sucks to be told no, but it's okay. We're going to learn from it and we're also going to see it as protection also.
Yeah.
So that's how I personally view no's. But I think your last one's really good.
I think that's good too because we like there's so many times where like I've had to over the years and I've gotten better like the longer you get into business and working with people you realize you're not for everybody either, so I think that's so valuable even in the chiropractic world or any business owner, just like you are not for everybody and you need to find the people that you are their bread and butter, like you guys work well because otherwise like, you're going to have those clients that you hate taking care of and hate seeing for months and months and months that you end up can't get rid of and now they're attached to you but they're stifling from you what you can be pouring into others then, and that goes for every business owner. Is just like, yeah, I agree. No is a protection and it's not a rejection.
Love
So,
that. We only have a few minutes left, and I would love for you to tell people where they could find you should they be interested in working with you.
yes, if you are interested in learning about social media specifically for chiropractors or new patient acquisition, again, we only work with chiropractors and holistic healthcare offices, so we know exactly how to market for what you guys need. You can find us at brandoutsocial.com or you can follow us on Instagram at brandoutsocial.com or not brandoutsocial.com, at brandoutsocial. And our team is always monitoring that, always engaging, even if it's just a question. It doesn't have to be hopping on a sales call. We're just happy to chat, build a connection, and learn more about you and your practice too. So even if it's just a question or wanting to find out something, it doesn't have to be that you're going to start working with us. We'd just love to serve you and do what we can to help give you guidance either way.
I love it. Well, thank you for your time today, Liv. It was very insightful and I believe perfect for the climate at hand that we're in. And if you guys have any questions watching this, please feel free to reach out. I will also put oh my gosh, Liv's information
Yeah.
about Brand Out Social underneath this video so you guys can find her. But again, Liv, thanks for being here. Yeah. All right, guys. See ya.
So